I'm Pan.
I'm Zarly.
I'm Drum.
I'm Christian, and our group is doing the Caribbean, and we picked Jamaica. So through my research for our Foods and World Culture class, I found some really interesting history about Jamaica. And so I found out that its roots are in European, East Indian, Chinese, and the Middle East. And its original name for Jamaica is Saimaka, which is an Arawak word meaning land of wood and water. Its diverse landscape made it desirable to other countries looking to capitalize on the fertile soil in the past, and that's where a lot of its culture comes from. So the first inhabitants were the Taínos, which lived there from 600 to 1494 AD.
So is that because of Columbus? Did he change the scene of the island?
Exactly, yeah. He brought over Spanish influence, which really changed their society from one that was hunting and farming to more a society based on farming alone. So the original inhabitants were a hunting and farming society, and they grew cassava, yam, corn, and sweet potatoes. And when the Spanish came in 1494, they brought in more fruit like coconut and vegetables and beans like chickpeas, cilantro, eggplant, onion, and garlic. And it introduced not only to Jamaica but to the surrounding Caribbean area. And not only did the Spanish bring different new foods, they brought slaves from Africa, which added more depth to the Jamaican cuisine, and it brought more medicinal plants straight from Africa, which also influenced their culture. The new food that was brought over has really influenced the cuisine of Jamaica, and they still use it heavily in their cooking. So in 1655, the British took over, and this was like a war with Spain, and it really added European influence into the whole culture and cuisine of Jamaica. So the British wanted to capitalize on the island of Jamaica, so they found out that they could grow sugarcane really well. And so they started making plantations which slowly grew sugarcane, and by the 1700s the sugarcane became the main crop on the island, and it was mainly used to produce rum.
So would that mean that a lot of Jamaican food is really sweet?
No, actually they couldn't really use the sugar because it was used as an export. So they used a lot more spices and fruits and vegetables that they could easily incorporate into the meals.
Yeah, I know they always put a lot of fruit into their dish. The like coconut, they put into the dish.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that adds like the sweetness that they wouldn't have gotten from adding, regular sugar.
Yeah, like what you said, their culture is influenced by other countries. Also, so does their cuisine. Actually, Jamaican cuisine is really deep influenced by Spanish and Indian. I know there's two very popular Jamaican dish. One is called a curry wandang, and then the other one is the jack dish. Actually, the jack dish is the like what you said. Most of the food is brought from other country to Jamaica, but jack dish, is actually is a seasoning. It's very native from Jamaica, and they apply this jack seasoning into every dish actually normally, and then they like chicken, pork, beef.
So it's kind of like their American like barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's kind of barbecue sauce, but it tastes like really hot.
Oh.
Yeah, and smoke. Then the other one is wandang, the curry wandang. Like what you said, they're really well influenced by India, right? So like curry, they eat curry very much. So curry wandang is normally the basic thing is the coconut milk.
Okay.
Yeah, they put
so like it's a mix of Indian and Spanish?
Yeah, because the curries come from Indian and coconut they come from Spanish.
Okay. Yeah.
So they put it together and then steam it. They call it wandang.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
So they also like because of their location, they eat a lot of tropical fruit. So they also use those tropical fruits for health remedy.
Okay. And yeah, something that I found really interesting when doing the history is that with the when the Europeans came into Jamaica, the Portuguese, Dutch, Danish, British, and French and Swedes came later, and they brought foods like oranges, limes, mangoes, rice, and coffee, which really kind of changed how they make their medicines and like how the cuisine is made.
And I know that there's a few different waves of like immigrants that came in and changed the course of the island. And if you look at the history of like the natural remedies, you can see kind of different movements and how they use the different things on the island and how it's evolved. And I think one of the most interesting things about like Jamaican like health remedies is it's very similar to the rest of the Caribbean. They have like obeah men, which they're basically like health practitioners or shamans, and they're not just a doctor. They actually deal with like the mind, body, and spirit. And that's very common in like Caribbean cultures. You have to, they do all these like exorcisms, and they have like these spiritual rituals and ceremonies, and that's like very deeply ingrained in Jamaican cultures, this belief in like the spiritual world. And that's one aspect of their health remedies, but the other one is kind of we see it kind of based on myth and kind of passed on for generation and generation, and they might be seen as like old wives' tales. But one of the most popular ones for like when you have a fever, they think the only way to get rid of it is to like banish it from your body.
You mean when they have fever, they don't go to see the doctor, but they just stay home and then
they'll have this obeah man like come to the house and cleanse the house and cleanse you. And what they do is they have this stuff called bay rum, and it's basically a rum that has some like aromatic herbs in it, and they'll drench your entire body in this rum, and you have to wrap yourself in a blanket and sweat it out. And as you're doing this, the obeah man is praying over you and cleansing your house and your body and your family. And most of these illnesses are seen as something that's come into your body and is affecting you, so it needs to be like banished and pushed out. Yeah, some of the other remedies are they have this like, it's like a cure-all basically. They take a few eggs and they like raw eggs and they whip it with a sugar, and you're supposed to eat this entire thing, and nobody wants to eat it, but as soon as you eat it, it's supposed to get rid of any problem. And some of these claims, like, they're looked at by clinical researchers and they think that they're bogus, but I mean, more research has been being done about these, like, health remedies, and some of them have actually been proven. Like, they use sarsaparilla, which we all know from root beer, and the sarsaparilla plant has a lot of steroids in it, and, they didn't know this back in the day when they were using it in Jamaica, but steroids are proven to help, to help clear up skin problems and to be an aphrodisiac, and that's exactly what they use sarsaparilla for. So I think it's interesting that they're kind of in line.
Wow, so they had kind of an understanding of their medicine before Western research came along.
Exactly, and it wasn't, I think it's interesting because it's all based on like myth and belief, but it's it's scientifically backed up today.
But actually, does it really work for that?
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's this epidemic right now called dengue fever, and it's kind of become like a recent, very big health epidemic. But they've had this cure for it for hundreds of years, and what they do is they drink a raw, unripe papaya juice, and it's supposed to get rid of it from your body.
So they just drink that papaya juice, then they can...
Well, I mean, the thing about like Jamaican health remedy is there's like different aspects. So you have to use the herbal and like the plant tonics, but then you also have this obeah man coming and like cleansing your spirit with like,
so it's like a combination of herbal remedies and spiritual remedy.
Yeah.
So whenever you get sick, it's because of some type of spiritual...
They don't think it's so much as a virus as something coming in. It's like a spirit or something.
It's kind of like if you are support, like this man is going to help you, and then you have to be strong, and then you can be better and then in your life.
And it's like the effect of positive thinking, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. There's very deep belief in Jamaican culture, and you look at the different religions in the country, and it's really, there's a lot of belief in spirituality, and I think that's the basis of it.
Yeah, it's very interesting when you bring up the dengue fever, because while doing research for the health epidemic in Jamaica, the most popular health epidemic is dengue fever. It is the most common in urban areas, and outbreak is commonly during the rainy season, because that's where the mosquito breed heavily in the standing water.
Does this dengue fever kill a lot of people?
Yeah, it scares lots of people, especially children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the mosquito pick up a dengue virus when it bites a human who already had the virus inside the bodies, and then the mosquito carry the virus in its blood, and then it spread when it's bite other humans. That's the reason why it spread.
Mm-hmm.
And another major problem is HIV. 32% of Jamaica gay community is infected with HIV.
Oh, okay.
That's very high. And HIV has been infected people in Jamaica for more than 25 years. And the first case of AIDS were identified on the islands in 1982, very early. 20 to 30% of men who have sex with men are estimated to be HIV positive. And men and women from age 20 to 39 account for 54% of reported HIV cases in Jamaica. It's like half of the population.
Wow.
And I think the primary reason to the epidemics are the social culture, behavior, and the economic factors, such as the multiple sex partner, the older man having sex with younger women or by visa, and the early sexual debut. Statistics show that 89% of males and 78% of females aged from 15 to 24 have sex with non-marital or non-cohabitant partner in a time of 12 months, and 56% of males and 16% of females have multiple sex partner in 12 months.
Wow.
That's why they spread the HIV virus to you and to him or to her.
Yeah, and I think the problem here is about the education and the belief. Like, I don't think they have a strong belief about like various sexual partner.
You mean
Yeah.
they don't really care, even though the virus of HIV is spread over?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's a big problem in the younger generation. So I think the education is probably one of the biggest
Yeah.
reasons.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. One last thing I really find very interesting about Jamaican culture is they're very tight and close knit, and their community
Yeah.
is very, very important to them. And
Mhm.
so
That's
is their
very like
family.
family oriented.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the biggest ways that they connect with their community and their family and outreach is through their food.
The food.
Yeah, and their cuisine. Why don't we try some Jamaican food?
Yay!